If you fall into a volcano crater, you should try to grab onto a ledge before you hit the bottom. If you can't, stand on your backpack to get away from the heat. Now, this intense heat can cause burns even without direct contact. So cover your face and body with any available material to shield yourself. You should also move quickly away from the lava flow to avoid toxic gases like sulfur dioxide, which can overwhelm you. If no rescue is coming, find a safe route to climb out. Look for ridges or rocks to help you ascend. If you need a tooth implant, surgeons can make an incision in your hip and remove a small section of bone. This bone is then shaped and placed into the jaw where it's needed, fusing with your existing bone. Once it heals, a titanium screw is inserted, acting as the root for your new tooth. After a few months, the bone and screw fuse together, creating a strong base for a custom-made tooth. If you get stabbed, most people might go ahead and pull the knife out, but removing it can make the bleeding worse because the blade might actually be plugging the wound. Instead, apply pressure around the wound to help control the bleeding. Try to elevate the injured area above your heart to slow down blood loss. Call emergency services immediately and try to relax in the meantime. They'd insert fingers into the wound, feeling for the musket ball. The soft lead ball often flattened or changed directions inside the body, making it harder to find. Sometimes the ball could be seen under the skin, but usually special tools like bullet extractors were used. Once the ball was located, the surgeon would carefully remove it. But fragments of dirty clothing carried in by the shot also had to be removed to avoid infection. After the wound was cleaned, the surgeon would sometimes cauterize it with a hot iron to prevent further infection. She tripped and fell, hitting her face hard. One of her front teeth went missing, and her family assumed it had fallen out during the accident. But the impact from the fall had actually pushed the tooth upward into her nasal cavity, where it remained hidden under the skin. Over the next 4 years, she began experiencing breathing difficulties and discomfort in her nose. Doctors were stunned when they finally discovered the truth. Surgeons successfully removed it, and she was able to breathe freely again. A thin tool will slide under the nail and gently lift it away from the nail bed. Then the doctor carefully pulls the nail upwards until it detaches completely and is pulled out of the skin. Finally, an ointment is applied, and the toe is wrapped in a bandage to protect it while it heals. And the new nail may grow back slowly over a year. If you fell into a black hole, the gravitational pull would stretch you out in a process called spaghettification. As you get closer, the gravity at your feet would be much stronger than at your head, pulling you longer and thinner. Eventually, you'd pass the event horizon. At this point, time would appear to slow down for an outside observer, but for you, time might seem to speed up. Finally, you'd be crushed by the immense gravity, merging with the singularity at the black hole's center, lost forever in its depths. Slender Man started to appear on the internet in 2009. Now, this creepy character quickly became the subject of horrifying stories and unverified encounters. His long, tentacle-like arms can extend to capture his victims, often near forests. In 2014, the myth took a dark turn when 2 girls in Wisconsin attacked their friend, claiming Slender Man told them to do it. He's evolved into a legend, leaving behind fear, uncertainty, and stories that still send chills down the spine of those who hear them. He pulled out a small gun and aimed it at the back of Lincoln's head. Now, he waited for a loud moment in the play, then he pulled the trigger. After firing the shot, he jumped down to the stage, breaking his leg as he landed. Despite the injury, he managed to escape the theater on horseback. As a massive manhunt began, he hid for 12 days before being found and killed in a barn. The doctor carefully inserts the endoscope through your mouth, navigating it down your esophagus and into your stomach. Once inside, they strategically place a series of durable sutures along the stomach's inner wall. These sutures pull the stomach into a narrow tube-like shape, dramatically reducing its size. When you eat, your new smaller stomach will make you feel full sooner, leading to weight loss. A neighborhood in Niagara Falls started noticing strange smells in the 1970s. The water started to taste odd, and they started to become sick. But what they didn't know was that their homes were actually built on top of a toxic waste dump. You see, decades prior, before the neighborhood existed, over 20,000 tons of hazardous chemicals had been buried there by a chemical company. And when the area was developed for housing, these chemicals began to seep into basements, backyards, and the local water supply. The disaster led to massive evacuations, and many families suffered long-term health effects. He mixed silicone oil with boric acid, attempting to create a synthetic rubber for the US military during World War II. What he got instead was a stretchy, bouncy substance. It picked up ink from newspapers and shattered if you hit it with a hammer, but the government didn't see its potential, so he set it aside. Later, a copywriter decided to market it as a toy called Silly Putty, which went on to make the list of all-time greatest toys. Enough has been made to wrap around the Earth 3 times. A doctor first will insert a thin tube called an endoscope down your throat. Attached to the endoscope is a deflated balloon, which is carefully guided into your stomach. Once in place, the balloon is filled with saline, which expands and takes up space in your stomach. The balloon stays in your stomach for about 6 months, making you feel full faster, reducing your food intake and causing you to lose weight. After the treatment period, the balloon is deflated and removed using the same process. A bomb was strapped around the neck of a pizza delivery man in 2003. He was allegedly forced to rob the bank by strangers who locked the device on him. After the robbery, he was instructed to follow a series of clues that would disarm the ticking bomb. However, the clues led him in circles, and the police apprehended him while he was still trying to solve them. He pleaded for help as the timer on the bomb ticked down. Eventually, it was revealed that this man had actually been involved in the plan. The other accomplices told him the collar bomb was fake, but once the timer ran out, the device detonated, killing him instantly. 2 boys walked up to the man's car wearing hoods. He rolled down the window just a little bit as they asked him for a ride, but the man felt an overwhelming sense of dread, like something terrible would happen if he let them in. As he looked closer, he realized that their eyes were pitch black, with no whites at all. He quickly drove away, leaving the boys behind. The man shared his experience online, and soon others began to report similar sightings of eerie children with completely black eyes. These stories fueled a growing legend, even though there's never been any serious evidence. When a constrictor snake wraps around a human, it tightens its coils with every breath the person takes. As the person exhales, the snake squeezes tighter, making it harder to inhale the next breath. With each cycle, the snake's grip gets stronger, reducing the chest's ability to expand and fill with air. This continuous pressure can also restrict blood flow, causing oxygen deprivation to vital organs. Eventually, the lack of oxygen leads to unconsciousness or worse.